My children are adopted, Matt and Emma. And I don't mention that because I am some angel of mercy who wanted to take care of poor street urchins. They are adopted because, first, I had an ectopic pregnancy that almost killed me. And then I went through years and years of infertility treatment, more miscarriages. My husband and I even tried in vitro fertilization. There was a period of time when I was pumped up with enough follicle-stimulating hormone to make a stud horse in Kentucky hard. But I lived in Chicago. But eventually, we adopted Matthew. A friend of mine delivered him. He lived in Wisconsin. And oh God, I was so happy. I can't tell you. He was beautiful and wonderful, and my husband and I were thrilled, and we were a family, and it was everything we wanted. And every once in a while, I'd be out with my little boy those first couple of years, and someone would say something like, "My God, he's huge. Well, your husband must be a linebacker. I mean, you're pretty tiny." And I'd say, "Oh, he's adopted. He's adopted." Oh, and most of the time it was met with, smiles and how lovely. But every once in a while, I'd run into somebody who would say, "Oh, don't you think what their mothers are missing?" And I would say, "Well, you know what? I didn't miss a thing last night at 4 o'clock in the morning when he fucking woke me up and I had to sit in the tub with him with croup. I'm not missing anything." Or every once in a while, someone would say, "Do you know anything about a real mother?" "Yeah, I can tell you that she's got baby shit under her fingernails right now, and it's real. It's real." Anyway, it really most of the time, it was just wonderful when people found out that I had adopted my son. But I found myself frequently saying it, and it really wasn't anybody's business. One day, I was in the park, in Lincoln Park in Chicago, and there was a woman sitting there on the bench next to me, and she was breastfeeding. And she was a full exposure breastfeeder. And she was rather heavy. And my son, who was kind of playing around, and her son, who looked to be about 18 months old to me, half a year and a half, something like that, my son was fascinated by her breasts. And he actually went over at one point and she kind of pulled back and she said, "My God, you'd think he'd never seen a breast before." And I said, "Well, not one the size of a hot air balloon exposed to the world." But she said, "He doesn't look all that far past weaning himself." And I said, "Well, I was really trying hard not to say, he's adopted." So I didn't say anything. And then she said, "He is weaned, isn't he?" And I said, "Well, actually, you know what? I didn't breastfeed him." "Oh, my God," she said. "The immunities he's missing. You must worry." And you know what? She was right, I did. I really did hate the fact that I wasn't able to breastfeed my children. And it really was a sore point with me that I had not been able to give birth to this little boy, to grow him inside me. It was a sore point. It was that soft part in my middle, and she kind of had me. But she kept looking at her son, and then all of a sudden her son hopped up on her knee and wanted more nummies. And I said to myself, if the kid can hop up on your knee and latch hold of that thing and suck it like a magnet and tilt his head back like he's draining a long neck Budweiser, it's time to get that kid his own bottle. Get him some good old formula or some vitamin D grade A milk. And finally I looked at her and I said, he's adopted. And she said, "Oh, I have a niece who's adopted." "Oh," I said, "Oh, really? Really? How old?" She goes, 16. "Oh, live around here?" "Well, her parents are in Evanston. She's in drug rehab." So, I had enough. 2 weeks later, my daughter was born. She was born on a Friday and home on Monday, and I had a family of 4, 2 beautiful, beautiful children. And I'm at the grocery store. And it's a pouring rainy night in Chicago, and it's end of September and nasty, and I'm going down the grocery aisle, and I've got my little girl in the cart at the top, and she's like sitting in all these little fleece blankets, and she's just gorgeous. And I get to the end of the belt, and I'm starting to take my Pampers out and the formula and, the baby wipes. And this man kind of hits me from behind with his cart, and he goes, so sorry. And that's okay. And he looks and he goes, oh, God, cute. Wow, she's beautiful. And I said, oh, thank you. And he goes, wow, how old? And I said, 2.5 weeks. He goes, 2.5 weeks? My God, you look great. And I said, thank you. And he's unloading stuff, and the check cashier's checking things out, and he says, 2.5 weeks? My God, look, he says, I have a kid at home. I have like a year, I don't know, he's 18 months. My wife is really, really struggling to lose those last few pounds, and she keeps saying how breastfeeding is supposed to really help. And I said, you're not even breastfeeding. And I went, yeah. She says, you know what? You look great. You do yoga? I said, you know what? I do yoga. Thank you. And finally, I get everything paid for, and the guy goes, 2.5 weeks? My God. And I think, what a fucking asshole, really, what an asshole. And so I get my daughter all, going out to the car, and I get halfway to my car, and I think, maybe this guy's really an asshole. Maybe he's the kind of guy who will go home and say to his wife, hey, you know what, I was just in the grocery store, and I saw this chick, she had a 2.5-week-old baby, and you should have seen her. Really pretty good shape. Slim as hell. You know what? I think, honey, maybe you need to step up the working out. Because maybe he really is an asshole. But I thought, and I looked for him. I thought, maybe I should tell him. And then I thought, no. Not my problem. Not my problem. I get my daughter in the car seat. I click her in. And then I'm getting in my car, and I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe the guy's really a bad guy. You hear about people who, you read about it in the paper, and you hear stories. Maybe the guy's going to walk in the door and say, boom, listen, I've kind of had it with all the big tip, breastfeeding and shit. Get your act together. I just saw a woman in the grocery store. She had a 2.5-week-old baby, and she looks like $1 million. And I'm going, oh, what am I doing? And I get in the car, and I'm just about to turn the ignition. All of a sudden, I hear this door slam behind me. And like I say, it's pouring rain. And I see from my side view mirror, it's the guy. And I think, you know what? This is the last time. This is the last time I'm ever going to tell a total stranger that my kid is adopted. Last time, check on my daughter, get out of the car. It's pouring rain. I walk around to the side of the car, and I'm like, I knock on the window, and the window finally goes down, and I say, look, mister, I got to tell you, what went on in the grocery store in there, there's something I got to tell you. I really got to tell you. I forgot to tell you this. I need to tell you. And all of a sudden, the interior lights of the car goes on, and I look in, and the guy in the grocery store, he's sitting in the passenger side, and I'm talking to his wife. And I'm like, oh. And my hair is plastered down, my makeup is all over my face, and I know she doesn't recognize me, but it's the woman from the park. And then all of a sudden I realized they deserve each other. And she says, so what went on in the grocery store? What do you got to tell my husband? And I had nothing. And I'm kind of looking in, and I can see the guy, and he's dying. He is dying. And he looks at me, and I kind of see the light from the grocery store, and all of a sudden I see this sign. I saw a sign. And I said, baby formula, 2 for 1, Enfamil and Similac, all 2 for 1. If you need some, you can go back in and get some. And I tapped on the roof of the car, and I ran. I literally ran back to my car. I was scared to death she was going to come after me, but I didn't hop in the front seat. I hopped in the back seat with my daughter, and I started sobbing. I just started sobbing. And I unhooked her out of her car seat, and I pulled her into me, and she was sucking on her little fist the way they do. And remember when they just smell like Johnson's baby shampoo? And you just, oh God, you just can't get enough of them. And I'm sobbing and I'm crying and I'm thinking, all this bullshit, all this stuff about me not being able to be pregnant and experience childbirth and breastfeed my own babies. That was all about me. That was me. My kids were fine. My kids were just fine. And I knew that even if one day my little girl or my little boy got some illness that my immunities might have been able to help them with, I would move fucking heaven and earth to make them well. Because that's the kind of mom I am. Thank you.